I know there's a lot of work to be done for the National Front, a lot of work to present our project to the French. I hope we are seeing the start of an awakening for the French people, because it's very fashionable at the moment.
The fashion she's referring to is the rise of the far right in Europe. Last week, a similar survey in the UK revealed 48% would consider supporting an anti-immigration party. Parties that already exist, with strong followings in Austria and the Netherlands. But the poll has sent shockwaves through French politics. Now, Sarkozy's rival, Dominique de Villepin, is being asked by his former spokeswoman not to challenge the president at the polls next May. She fears a split in the votes for the mainstream right could hand a victory to the National Front. Charlie Angela, AlJazeera.
A 6.2 magnitude earthquake has shaken a northern region of Chile. It was centered in Putre, near the border with Bolivia. Some buildings were damaged, but there were no reports of injuries. Rio de Janeiro's world-famous Carnival is just hours away, but it won't be quite the same for a few of Rio's samba schools. They spent all year building elaborate floats and costumes, only for a huge fire to destroy the lot. AlJazeera spent time with Elizabeth Santana, who works at one of those schools, and this is her story.
Meu nome é Elizabeth.
My name is Elizabeth Santana.
Quando eu estou sem o que fazer,
When I have nothing to do in the sculpture department, I come over here to this float decoration section.
eu venho para cá. Porque o momento em que você está sem fazer nada,
When you have nothing to do, you go help others, because those very people will in turn help you when you really need it.
se estiver precisando, vai lá e vai te ajudar. Agora, esse ano, eu estou vendo muito união entre os empreiteiros.
This year, I have seen lots of solidarity between the different departments.
E assim, essa tragédia serviu.
This tragedy helped us come together for the school.
A maioria das coisas.
Most of the things were finished.
Eu entrei num desespero tão grande quando eu vi as janelas estourando.
When I saw the windows shattering, I was overcome. The windows of our workshop exploding really was shocking, because I thought about all my friends inside.
Nosso trabalho todos, nossa
Not to
vida.
mention losing all of the work. There were lives to worry about inside, so I was panicky.
Meses.
The things that we were building over several months were lost in the fire in
Não tem
seconds.
muita explicação, dói
There
muito.
is no explanation. It hurts even to think about it.
Desfilar para mostrar que a Portela em si.
We still will have our parade because we need to show that Portela is not just a school, it's a family.
Nosso trabalho, porque
We are all in this together working for the school. It's not just us. Portela has a long tradition. It's a big league school which goes back a long time. We have to parade no matter what.
suor naquilo que a gente se dedica
Everything that you
mais.
work hard at, which you make an extra effort at, is much more satisfying when you see the final result.
You're watching AlJazeera. These are the stories making headlines. Libyan state television has broadcast an appearance by Muammar Gaddafi before crowds in Tripoli's Green Square. Pro-government supporters rallied in the capital on Sunday. These are the latest pictures of fighting in the Libyan town of Misrata. Opposition fighters say they've repelled an attack by government forces, including tanks and artillery. At least 18 people were killed. A British Special Forces team captured by Libyan opposition fighters outside Benghazi has been released. They boarded the HMS Cumberland in Benghazi port on their way out of Libya. The soldiers were reportedly part of a diplomatic mission seeking to make contact with anti-Gaddafi forces. Well, attacks like this a few days ago on an oil depot in Benghazi in Libya have helped push U.S. crude oil to a 30-month high of $105 a barrel. The continuing instability and accompanying slowing of production there is hitting investor confidence. Pro-democracy protests are continuing in Bahrain's capital, Manama. Police with riot shields stood behind one entrance to Qudaybiya Palace, where the Prime Minister has his office. Other protesters remained camped out at Pearl Roundabout, which has become the focus of the demonstrations. Saudi Arabia is reported to be building up its security forces in the east. It comes in response to protests there calling for more rights for Shia Muslims. New video posted on a social media website appears to show a protest in Qatif on Friday. A report in the British Independent newspaper says up to 10,000 extra troops are being sent to the region. Egyptian security forces have broken up a crowd of protesters who were trying to get access to the Ministry of Interior in Cairo. Men in plain clothes, armed with knives, petrol bombs and bricks also clashed with protesters. At least 6 people have been found dead in Mexico's border city of Ciudad Juarez. Police officials say 2 gunmen shot a man in a bar early on Sunday. 5 other bodies were found nearby. A 7th victim is in serious condition in hospital. Afghan President Hamid Karzai has rejected a U.S. apology for the mistaken killing of 9 Afghan boys in a NATO airstrike last week. Those are the headlines. Stay with Al Jazeera.
Indonesia has long been proud of its diverse ethnicity, cultures and spiritual beliefs. But recent attacks against minority groups like the Ahmadiyya sect and on Christian churches have many claiming that religious intolerance is on the rise here. I'm Fauzia Ibrahim. On this edition of 101 East, we ask just what does religious freedom mean in multicultural Indonesia?
Outnumbered, police stand by as a mob attacks homes in Banten, West Java, Indonesia. They belong to Ahmadiyya, a sect who say they are Muslims, but who believe their founder was the final prophet rather than Muhammad. It's a belief that's deeply offensive to the vast majority of Indonesia's 209 million Muslims. But this amateur video showing the crowd stripping 3 Ahmadiyya men naked, stoning and beating them to death has shocked the nation. It is too gruesome to show here. The number of attacks against religious minorities in Indonesia has surged in the last year. As a result, Ahmadiyya followers in Lombok are to be forcibly moved to this almost deserted island nearby, a move the provincial government say is for their own safety. For Kai Rudin, it's the first time he's seen his potential new home.
Menurut saya terutama bagus lah.
I think the island looks comfortable.
Bagus, nyaman juga udara.
The air is fresh and I don't mind living here as long as facilities such as electricity and school is provided and safety as well. I'm excited.
Misalnya Bupati, ini ada sudah di ACC, sudah disetujui oleh Bupati.
Every moment is recorded for 200 SEC members back home.